In recent years, the premonition of the coming end of the world has increasingly inspired modern filmmakers. Films about natural cataclysms, deadly epidemics, and even invasions of extraterrestrial beings have been released periodically. If this topic interests you, here are a few movies from recent years with which you can spend a pleasant evening. The End We Start From, an apocalyptic thriller starring Jodie Comer, Benedict Cumberbatch, and Mark Strong, is also an adaptation of Megan Hunter's debut novel of the same name. The film tells the story of the consequences of an environmental disaster through the experiences of one woman who, days after giving birth, is forced to leave flooded London with a baby in her arms and travel through the surviving country. The film is not considered the most successful attempt to replicate the success of Children of Men, but almost all viewers note the mesmerizing camera work and another outstanding performance by Jodie Comer. Vesper is a sci-fi post-apocalyptic drama about a future world where nature has become a ruthless killer and humanity is on the brink of extinction. Once, people tried to hack into the planet's biosphere to rid the population of a spreading virus and stop a pandemic, but it ultimately led to the destruction and rewiring of the entire natural system. All animal species were wiped out, and new plant life developed animal-like traits, with plants becoming predators that feed on humanity. To restore the balance and tip the scales on which the entire fate of mankind rests, that is what 13-year-old girl Vesper has to do. The girl engages in her own biohacking and experiments with strange new vegetation in an attempt to find a cure to save the rest of the world. Finch, a post-apocalyptic story, depicts humanity on the brink of extinction. Like the best representatives of the genre, the film vividly and meticulously portrays the setting of the future. However, its plot is entirely focused on presenting the viewer with a serene and grounded story about humanity. Additionally, the world of Finch is depicted with extreme believability in its details, presenting a very plausible scenario, especially from an ecological standpoint. It's all the more commendable that the project turned out to be not only alarming and thrilling, but also infused with hope. Finch may not be a revelation in the science fiction genre, but it is the kind of movie that prompts us to ponder what we can leave behind for our descendants or our intelligent creations. Expect laughter, tears, and the bitterness of loss. Overall, it's the perfect film for anyone who hasn't experienced the emotional impact of a movie in a while. Acide, a French apocalyptic thriller, centers on a family trapped in the midst of an environmental disaster. In the story, a relentless, debilitating heat wave has scorched the earth. A cloud that appears unexpectedly could offer salvation for the locals, but an unknown force transforms it into an ominous cloud that spews deadly acid rain upon the earth. Panic grips the world as abnormal acid rain incidents are reported everywhere, destroying all forms of life. 15-year-old Selma and her parents struggle to survive in the heart of the disaster. United, they strive to do everything possible to escape the merciless elements and survive the apocalypse. The director intertwines the ecological theme with a political aspect, using the image of a global catastrophe not to highlight the worst in humanity, but to underscore the privileges that persist through any crisis. Tides will transport us to the not-too-distant future, when, after a global ecological catastrophe, the Earth is completely submerged underwater. The ruling elite successfully colonizes the planet Kepler-209, but people are no longer able to procreate due to the unique conditions of the new atmosphere. 3 scientists decide to return to Earth to explore the possibility of starting anew. However, their spacecraft crash lands on the water, leaving only one girl as the sole survivor. It's now up to her to determine whether humanity has even the slightest chance of survival. The movie doesn't aim to impress with the best performances or special effects, but unveils a compelling personal story, enriched with social issues. Concurrida Utopia is a Korean disaster movie. In the story, after a massive earthquake, most of Seoul is buried under the rubble of skyscrapers, but one apartment complex remains unharmed for unknown reasons. The survivors are eager to get to this building to be safe, but its residents are not pleased with the uninvited guests, referring to them as intruders. Together, they attempt to protect their utopian home from the remaining survivors. Concurida Utopia does not merely depict Koreans' fantasies of home ownership or the loss of humanity in extreme situations. The movie initiates a discussion on human behavior, encompassing greed, discrimination, the desire for power, and human-created hierarchies. Despite the tragedy, the film highlights the best qualities of people, showing that togetherness and decency will always prevail amidst the dust and devastation. Badland Hunters, the sequel to Concurrito Utopia, starring Lee Dong-seok, is set years after a powerful earthquake destroyed Seoul. The remnants of what was once a major city have now turned into an apocalyptic wasteland where lawlessness prevails and the principle of brute force rules. The protagonist, an experienced hunter, adept at surviving in this new world, does not hesitate to be brutal if circumstances demand it. When a teenager he knows is kidnapped by a mad doctor who performs horrific experiments on people, the hero decides to take matters into his own hands and embarks on a mission to save him. The film is shot spectacularly and dynamically, featuring epic shootouts and fights, ensuring that viewers will definitely not be bored. Rubicon unfolds in the distant but foreseeable future in the year 2056. Despite attempts to remedy the situation, the ecological state of the planet is becoming critical. The luxury of breathing clean air is afforded only by the wealthy strata of the population. Rubicon is a space station where research is conducted, through which the Earth's population hopes to overcome the ecological catastrophe. Suddenly, communication with the astronauts is lost, and the planet is at the mercy of a thick, dense, and toxic fog. The crew of the space station is in turmoil as they must decide their next steps: return to Earth to try to find survivors, or remain in orbit awaiting an uncertain future. Both the choice itself and the struggle to make it lead to fatal consequences. Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. The eagerly anticipated prequel and post-apocalyptic action-adventure film narrates the ascent of the fearless warrior, Furiosa. In the story, 45 years have elapsed since civilization's collapse. Furiosa, living with her family in the fertile Greenlands known as the Thousand Mothers, is abducted by mountain bikers led by the warlord Dementos. As they traverse the wasteland, the gang stumbles upon an army of untamed Joes ruling the citadel. Caught in the crossfire between the two tyrants, Furiosa faces numerous trials and dedicates her life to returning home. Thus commences the grand odyssey of a valiant heroine. In this video, we explored a selection of post-apocalyptic movies. If you enjoyed this video, then please don't forget to give us likes, subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell. Thanks for watching, and good luck to everyone.